right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're here at the Local Yokels Podcast. We're bringing you all the stories of DeSoto County businesses, nonprofits, charities, trying to focus on what they do, what their journey's purpose, impact is. And this episode is brought to you by RoofWorks Roofs. And also today in-house, we have also one of our sponsors, which we're going to today focus on High Cotton Meats.
Yep.
High Cotton Meats.
High Cotton Meats.
Yeah. And I've got with us our guest today. By the way, my name is Neil Colley as your host. I always forget that, Daniel, but Daniel Kilzi, the owner and mind behind all this stuff and the hard work too, the labor force behind it a lot of times is with us in the studio. And so what we're going to do, Daniel, is talk about all the things, which is crazy how much stuff you got going on. You've got a ton of businesses, and this has all kind of happened in the last few years.
It has.
You've got this dream, this idea of how to bring local products to local people. And I love that. So Daniel has multiple businesses, and I want you to rattle off some of those names because there's more than one to focus on. But I know High Cotton Meats is like your processing plant to where you do the deer processing and cows and pigs and sheep, whatever you got, chickens, whatever. If you got it, he'll process it for you. So give them the location on that real quick so we...
All right, so High Cotton Meats is located at 7316 Highway 301 in Lake Commerce. It's on the same property as Ark Farms, and it also serves as our central location for hives and honey, which is our commercial apiary as well.
It's a big property, and it's got a lot of going on out there. Mm-hmm. You're building chicken coops and all kinds of stuff out there.
Yep.
You know, and so talk to us a little bit about as we mentioned, the High Cotton Meats is the probably the thing that's going on right now. You kind of have seasonal businesses. I've noticed that.
Like, we do.
The Buena Vista Landscaping, obviously that's kind of spring to fall type thing, which if you want to shout out some call-out numbers, how to contact or .coms or whatever you got for those things, I'd certainly welcome that at this point because we got to plug and we got to get numbers on them or otherwise we're going to miss the opportunity.
Right. So High Cotton Meats, if you guys need to get a hold of them for processing, especially deer processing this time of year, and let me kind of interject that with, we've been doing this as a family for ourselves for the last 15, 20 years, processing deer.
Right.
As a family, we would eat 17 to 20 deer a year, just me, my wife, and the kids, and that's really all we had to eat. Whatever we killed is what we ate.
Right.
So we got really good at it. It was a family affair.
Yeah.
And jumping back into what we were talking about, High Cotton Meats was a necessity, was started by necessity.
Sure.
We started Buena Vista Landscapes in 2011, I believe. Mm-hmm. And when we started to grow from 2014 to 2018, 2019, we started coming into a major problem in the spring where we had to let everybody go in the winter. There's nothing to do.
Right.
Well, hiring people has been miserable.
Right.
So we had to find something to keep the guys going in the winter. And when the opportunity came up to buy the processor, we jumped at it. Yep. And so our guys they cut all year. Either they're cutting grass or they're cutting deer. One of the two.
One of the two, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so High Cotton Meats, if you need to get a hold of them, 662-544-0744. They're there Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you guys need your deer process, please come by. We do European mounts also. We'll skin them. We'll get you guys ready for any kind of shoulder mounts for your taxidermist, whatever you need to do.
Right.
And as far as Buena Vista Landscapes, that's 662-544-8747. And anything you need as far as outdoor work, landscaping, drainage, retaining walls, name it.
Flower beds,
all just
that
regular
stuff.
Maintenance.
Yeah.
We do probably 50-50 commercial or residential. Right. And I think we're one of the few in this county or in this area that actually warranties our drainage work.
Sure.
So if you guys have had some issues, and we've encountered a lot of them, where people come out and do a lot of work and they just can't seem to fix the problem.
Right.
We will fix the problem. Whether it's on our dollar or not, we're going to get it done. So
you're going to back it up.
Absolutely.
It. So, and like if you, I know a lot of people deal with this every year because of the water problems, like your yard gets uneven. Daniel and them, the guys to call to get it leveled back out with some sand and get it all prettied up. They use the right products. They also provide a lot of service sides of things like we were talking about with the flower beds, mulch, you name it, whatever you guys got to have. And they'll show up, get it done, looks pretty, it's clean when they leave, everything's nice. So
and it's going to function.
It's going to function too. Yeah. So let's pass on by Buena Vista now. What's the next business we want to talk about, Daniel?
Hives and honey.
Hives and honey. This is the one I really wanted to get to because there's probably some real good honey products in the region, but like locally sourcing the honey has a lot to do with your allergies and things like that. So I'm interested in that. I was asking you before we started about how much this stuff was, per jar, pound, whatever, how y'all did it, and I said, look, there's probably a lot of people looking for local sourced honey in this region. Talk about Hives and honey.
So Hives and honey, we've finished our first full year. 2024 is our first full year in business. We've got a truckload of bees. We hope to be even bigger as the time progresses.
Yeah, how many hives you got now?
Just over 400 hives.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. We got them all over the place, all over DeSoto County, and we got a couple in Oxford, Mississippi.
Right. So
but, we've got a lot of honey that we need to sell between now and January.
Well, tell people how to get in touch with you for the honey.
So Ark Farms or High Cotton Meats.
When you say Ark Farms, you're like ARK.
ARK, you like build your ark.
Build your own ark.
And that's kind of where all this is headed.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
But Ark Farms or High Cotton Meats, you can get our honey up there. It's mostly locally sourced honey. Most of this honey that we got is coming out of Ohio, actually.
Right.
Because we sent them up there, our first honey flow. We didn't know exactly what we were doing. Again, we're new.
We're just figuring it out. Yep.
And so we ended up making about as much honey here locally, inexperienced, as they made up there. So going forward, it'll all be done.
It'll all be done here. Yep. So, gotcha.
But yeah, Hives and Honey has it, and you can get it as cheap as $8 a pound.
And this is non-pasteurized too. No, this is all raw,
raw filtered honey. We try to get as much of the bee parts out of it as possible, and that's it.
Right. So it's the good stuff.
It's really good.
Yeah, really good. So tell people how to reach out to you and contact you based for that.
Hives and Honey, to get a hold of their product, you just go to High Cotton Meats. It's there. It's open 8 to 8 Monday through Sunday. You'll be able to get a hold of it or contact us at Ark Farms. Unfortunately, Ark Farms doesn't have a phone number. It's my personal number.
Well, give them your personal number.
Well, 662-544-6137, and you'll be able to hit me up at any time. We'll take that call and we'll get you guys.
For all those businesses that he's got, by the way. So Daniel obviously has to delegate some duties to others, and with others, it comes to being brother-in-laws. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Yeah, like this is the family, the local family connection.
It is.
Yeah, somebody, if they don't know you, they probably know your brother-in-laws.
Tim Marsh, he's probably one of the best people I've ever met. Hands down.
Absolutely.
I mean, just good to the core, doesn't have a mean bone in his body.
And a very hard worker.
He's one of the few people I can say, like, he'll outwork me.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if, me and Neil were talking earlier, and he's trying to get a hold of me. My phone's ringing. I can't answer it because I'm working bees this morning.
Getting gassed by acid, dust, or whatever you were doing over there. Right. Yeah, I don't know what you were doing, but I was like, well, okay, I hope he makes it.
That's it.
So, Tim's an essential part of your program. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you guys are partners in a few ventures of this, and if not all, I don't even know. But
the park, the RV park, we're partners together.
Yeah, Hilltop RV Park. Let's go ahead and just mention that.
Plug them all.
Yeah, plug them all as we go. This is a local resource in Horn Lake. Mm-hmm. It's kind of bordering Walls area. Yep. But if you have a place you'd like to put your RV, either you live there or it's just like a place to park it for a while and you get some use out of it. You got some family coming in town, whatever the case may be. They have really upgraded this place.
Man, that place was getting ready to be shut down.
It was pretty rough looking. I was fortunate enough to work with y'all, bringing in some materials, and I got to see from what it was, which I passed by there probably 10 times a day. I would never go there. Right. Like, I didn't know anybody there anything, and but it was set way back off the road, and I thought, well, it's just a little trailer park or something, and but it was one that time had forgotten. Yep. You know what I mean?
Like, it was all from the 50s to 70s.
You're right.
That's the last time anything was done.
So you guys have went in and like refreshed all the pads. You've built up new plumbing, electrical connections. I mean, this is state of the art stuff, like the Wi-Fi, everything.
As of this week, we finally got our new underground power connected by Energy.
Yeah.
And so we probably dropped 40 or 50 overhead wires.
Wow, that's amazing. So
I'm excited. It looks really good.
How do people get in touch with you about that? Just Hilltop.
Hilltop RV Park. You can look it up on Google. The phone number is, if you give me 1 second.
That's okay. I
forgot about that.
Running at you. Yeah.
It's 662-781-1350, and the office is open 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Right. And it's a nice, quiet place, by the way. Once I got up there and seen it, I'm like, this would be a nice place to just stay out of the traffic of things.
We got a lot of folks moving in now that we've cleaned it up. We've had some $500,000 RVs living in in there.
I see that. I see that. I've seen that. And I'm like, when I first pulled in, it's probably about 3 weeks ago. I don't know what I was bringing up there, dirt, sand, something. I don't know what I was bringing, but I looked up and I was like caught off guard by one of the ones that was there. I was like, wow, this is a little upgrade, you know? So those are coming. There's newer stuff coming in. Still some older stuff, but you guys have put it to a point where it's cleaned up. It looks good, and you're making them work at it too, because they own them sometimes. And of course, and you want them to, you know, represent your park well, you know, because it's not a huge park.
No, it's not. It's 60 or 70 lots right now. We've got some space and some plans to expand. But
but you guys done an awesome job.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, I've been over there a lot of times when I'm dumping out my cool air-conditioned truck. It's not always 100% cool on the hot days, but I don't even want to get out and talk to y'all because y'all are sweating.
We were in a hole all year, 4 months, nonstop,
laying pipe, and I'm just like, golly, man. I know they got employees. So hats off, right?
Thanks.
So I appreciate the work y'all do. But all right, so we're past Hilltop. All right. What's the next venture that you guys got? I think
that's it.
We cover it all?
I think so.
Okay. I want to get back to high cotton meats and the beehive stuff because that's the time of year now is when these things are rocking and rolling. So people that are looking to, you know, I don't know how many deer processing plants there are.
There's two other ones locally.
Is there? Okay.
One of them's fairly new. I think they started about the same time that we bought this location. This was the old Highway 301 deer processing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I think they had a pretty bad name.
They did at times. I mean, I don't know those guys, but I know a lot of people that had concerns about getting their stuff back, all that. Well,
horror stories.
I have referred a lot of people to your guys' stuff, and I've had no complaints. You know, like everybody says, oh yeah, man, it's top notch. They get my deer in, they get it out.
I'll tell you, it's because we did it. We did it at home.
You did it at home. You know what you wanted.
We knew exactly what we wanted, what kind of product we wanted to give back. So and we scavenged, man. You know, doing this when we were broke, we learned how to take every single piece of meat off those deer, which is how we trained our guys.
Absolutely. And it stays clean. I mean, you know, much as a deer processing place can, you know, but I've seen it. I've been in there. I've dropped off deer for friends and picked up stuff after you've processed it, and everything's clean.
It's the only deer processor, and I don't know if it's just me because it's mine.
Yeah.
It's the only deer processor I've ever been to that I can walk in at any point and it doesn't smell like rotted flesh.
That's right. It's very clean smelling. And with the hides and stuff, I know that you know, a lot of times just the waste part of like the hides, you know. We're
trying to do something with everything.
Yeah.
And that's been the big push is we're trying to do this for the community.
Sure.
It's at some point money doesn't mean much. It's about community, it's about family, it's about peace of mind.
Sure.
And so we're trying to utilize every part of every animal that comes through there.
Right. Some kind of a repurposing product or something. Absolutely. So I know years ago I talked to you, I was like, I know there's somebody local here that wants to make some moccasins or something out of these deer hides.
Man, we actually have I think he's 14 or 15 now. He approached us a couple of years ago. He wanted to get into tanning hides.
Nice.
So we've been kind of providing him with all the tools to tan hides.
Right, at no cost. And he's kind of like getting started into this new venture. And he might be the biggest guy in the area in another year or two. So that's awesome.
We love it.
That's being repurposed too. And the processing plant, normally during deer season, obviously it's 100% focused on that. But if people were to have like a cow that they wanted to get processed.
So we can do large animals, but we can't do them during deer season.
Right. That's what I was going to say. It's busy time. Yeah. So, but in the event that they want to bring in their cow to be done, they can call you, make a plan for butcher dates and things like that. Same things with the hogs and everything.
Hogs, we do a lot of goats, a lot of sheep.
Right.
I think it's just easier for small farmers. That 5 to 10 acres, they can keep something on there, get some meat coming out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a lot of people around here that's got goats and
more than I ever knew.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, my son went down that road with the goats for a little while, and it's not an easy life. No. You think they just set them out there and eat them? They're cantankerous. They get sick.
It's work.
They'll eat anything for sure.
We actually had two down at the farm, Billy and Bob. They were brothers, and you can tell them apart because Bob was missing an ear.
Okay.
And Bob was missing an ear because Billy ate his ear.
Oh my God, that sounds about right. Oh, it's hilarious, man. The goats are really entertaining to watch. They will drive you insane if you don't have them in a pen that's fortified.
Oh, yeah.
They would be standing on top of your brand new Cadillac in your driveway when you get up in the mornings, and you'll be wanting to shoot Bob.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
every time you turn around.
On the other side of that, the babies are the cutest thing.
They are, but man, there's a point where they are not babies, and then they're the devil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're the spawns of Satan.
We raised a couple, just new drops, and about 2 or 3 weeks in, we started taking them to the house on the weekend so that we could socialize them.
So, are you guys selling any animals down there at the property at the farm?
Yeah. So we can sell our livestock, and we can process the livestock that you buy
after you buy it. Right.
Gotcha.
So
we're custom exempt. We're not USDA. We're not trying to go down that road.
Right.
So we're trying to just keep it all small. We're trying to, nothing against the government, but I don't feel like having a USDA representative standing over me.
Right. So this is fresh killed. This is fresh.
It's
processed.
your meat back.
Yeah, it's your stuff. That's
right. It's going to be as good as you did.
So you have that with the chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And
chickens,
you got
turkeys, chickens, turkeys, guineas on site, goats, sheep. No, we don't process donkeys, but we raise a couple donkeys.
Yeah. They're just cool pets.
They are very cool pets.
Guard dogs, if you will.
Oh, yeah. We have a bunch of livestock guardian dogs out there. Great Pyrenees. We're trying to raise them.
You guys are into so much, man. I'm always, every time I go down there, whether it be just see you or come by and pick up a deer for a buddy or come by and get a check from you for something we've done together. Yeah. Something different. Always. Something's new going on.
Always.
And it's kind of cool because like when you pass by it, you really can't just tell all the going ons with it, and the guys are cooped up is another one, right, that you guys are doing.
He builds chicken coops, really nice chicken coops.
Man, they're like mansion coops. Like they're really nice.
These things are built as well as a house.
Yeah, they are. So like you don't have to worry about varmints getting to them.
Nope,
like he's got them pretty, one of the biggest issues. Also my son, and I only use him because I love him. He'll let me talk about him. That's Tyler Colley, by the way, if anybody knows him. But he had chickens, and it was a battle trying to like keep the the snakes or the raccoons or whatever
hawks,
it was.
It.
Yeah, man, they were after him all the time. As much as we like chicken, they love it even more.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. So, and their eggs and all that good stuff. And you guys sell the eggs at the farm as well?
We do. We sell them on farm, and we also provide them to a couple of retailers in town as well.
Right. And that's what I want to get to, by the way. This Local Yokel podcast is about local yokels.
That's it.
And you're a yokel. Yeah. You're one of my yokels. All right. So as much as I'm not really a yokel, but I am a local yokel. Yeah, right. So anyway, but getting back to this, I guess it's like farm to table type stuff that we, that the other communities talk about. One of the things that I want to try to do is get more people connected. Jim Lasapio that owns Juniors across the road, actually I met Jim through you of all people. Just kind of like, hey buddy, do you know anybody that does this? And he's like, yep, I got a guy. You gave him my number, and then me and Jim have been friends ever since. So he's a guy that owns a lot of restaurants in town, and he really tries to source local. And with his products on his restaurants as much as he can. He said it might be a little more cost, but the effect of it is it's cheaper in the long run. It's quality, fresh.
And the food, the difference in the flavor of the food is
absolutely.
It's night and day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't, until somebody tries it, they'll never understand why they're paying more.
Well, you're not paying for a price. I don't know.
You're not paying for a saline solution.
Yeah, right. So it's a very, very homegrown organic product. So
absolutely.
That's important. So people that are interested in sourcing your meat local, eggs, I know you guys are ever growing. I know next year you'll probably have a dairy farm out there knowing you. That's probably the next step.
It might be coming.
Yeah, it might be coming. So, but anyway, from that to the farm fresh eggs to the, the fresh chickens, the guineas, whatever you're after, getting your deer processed, getting your cow processed, all that good stuff. These guys are your one-stop shop, and they do a great job. You get back what you bring in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the farm, I do want to say this. There's not a lot of options for organic feed in the area, and we're one of the few retailers for organic feed.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely. Tell people about that a little bit.
So we get all our feed from Kentucky Organics, and it's in Kentucky, and we got to go get it in Kentucky. Right. So we got to take it. We order once a month, we pick up once a month, and then we disperse from there from the farm. But it's the only place I know of that has everything. We're talking about from chickens and other poultry to cows to swine to goat, all kinds of different feed, all organic.
Right. So, and you guys are the only ones around giving.
That's it.
Yeah, right. So if people wanted to, is this for cost-wise, how does it compare to
It's
like
expensive.
local? Is it
Very expensive.
But the return on investment is probably better. Like it's a better quality. It's like dog food, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
so, a lot of dog foods are just filler.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? And then there's dog foods that you can spend twice or 3 times as much in your dog's nutritional. Their hair is better.
Absolutely.
Their body. Same thing with farm animals. You know, you're going to get a overall healthier animal, healthier specimen with less fillers.
Absolutely.
You know, so like I'm a firm believer. I mean, I know you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Right. You know, but if you can afford it.
If you can afford it and you like the difference in the flavor or in the chicken itself or the eggs, then man, go for it.
Or it's just your pet goat.
That's it.
But you want to be healthy.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You don't want him eating aluminum cans. Right. You know what I mean? Like because he will. Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool, man. So with the I want to get back on the honeybee thing a little bit because we just glossed over those things. But right now, you have a lot of honey.
A lot.
And you need to get rid of it.
We have to sell it.
You have to sell it.
We have to sell it before end of January.
End of January. Gotcha. Because you got new batches coming.
Well, we gotta send them to California.
Right. The bees.
They gotta all go to California, and that's an expensive trip.
I bet it is.
So we've got to make enough to get them there and get them back.
Right. And then why would you send them to California? Is it like just a winterizing?
So blow your mind data fact. Yeah. And I didn't know this until we got into bees.
Right.
90% of all bees in America go to California for the almond pollination.
Oh,
90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So what happened is they call it a unicrop system where they have planted so many almond trees in an area that they've removed any kind of natural vegetation.
Oh.
Which is great for the almond trees.
Right.
Unfortunately, the forethought wasn't there. Well, how do you pollinate an almond tree when you can't sustain bee life?
Right.
And so they can't have bees out there because other than the 4 to 6 weeks that the almonds are in bloom, there's nothing for bees to eat.
Right.
So they got to truck them out and then truck them back in every year. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So from all over the country, they're just getting shipped in.
From Maine and Florida all the way to California. Everything goes to California.
Amazing.
Yep. So if you like your almonds, that's the only way
I do eat almonds a lot, and I love them. You know, but I didn't know that was all involved in that.
90% of all the bees in America.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Statistics are important.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And I would not even think that would even be a thing. You never think the bee leaving its hive here, you know. So there's really not a real, true, genuine local bee. No. Unless he's on somebody's property and he's just.
And the problem with that is you have to feed them.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the honey's no good.
Right,
if you're feeding them sugar water, it doesn't taste like honey. It just
so you guys are getting a raw product that's coming from nature and it's not artificial. Right. Yeah, so I understand that. Mm-hmm. So if you got a property of like 10 acres and you've got a beehive.
Yeah, it should be.
They would be great.
They'd be fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So Coach Camp.
But there's caveats to that.
Yeah.
So you can't spray your grass.
Right.
And so everybody out here wants to have this, beautiful white picket fence.
But you can't have a beehive with that. Yeah, because they'll kill them.
It'll kill them.
Yeah, yeah. So you got to have an all-natural farm.
That's right.
100%. Hope your neighbors do too.
That's right.
Yeah, because otherwise they're going to not last. But I was saying just now, Derek Michaud and Coach Camp, we were having a conversation. Coach Christopher Camp that does the podcast, Motivated with Coach Camp, he was talking about he has a few hives on his property, and he says it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And it's he's got like a small little family thing there for him. He's got a few animals, things like that. And it's a lot of work. And we were talking to folks, and I think Jim has some Lasapio we were talking about.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's got a few on his place, and he's trying to figure out who. Yeah, I think he was telling me about trying to do his honey. I mean, that's a lot of work trying to like strain this stuff and get it clean.
Oh, man. If you're not doing a lot in one shot, it's a lot of time for a little return.
Right. So if you're just consuming it for yourself,
it's one thing.
It's one thing. Yeah. But if you're trying to do it as a business, it's a whole nother. So with that, how does your honey come? Does it come in like jars?
So right now, we're going to be bottling everything in some kind of special BPA-free plastic.
Awesome.
So that's going to come in pints, quarts, half gallons, and gallons.
Okay.
The gallons are going to be about $90.
Wow, that's a lot of honey, though, man.
It's a lot of honey. Yeah, and it weighs more than water. So typically, a gallon of milk or a gallon of water is going to weigh about 8 pounds. A gallon of honey weighs about 12.
Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah, it's heavy. It's very dense. Mm-hmm. And by the way, it doesn't spoil. Never. So it's an investment that you're never going to lose.
That's
like
right.
It's not going to go bad.
That's right.
Even if it crystallizes for some reason.
Just warm it up, put it in
You
double
warm it up.
board and
And it's going back to reality. So one of nature's true golden gifts is honey.
That's right.
You know, it's
one
amazing.
One of the few food products that we can survive on solely.
Solely. Yeah, like if you just had a diet of honey, you would survive and probably thrive, truthfully.
It's
so
wild.
I might need to try that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can afford it. That'd be pretty expensive, but I don't know, for $90, how long would it take you to consume a gallon of honey? A long time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So like if you just had a spoonful every couple of hours of the day, you could probably just really just go get it. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe that's something new.
And we've got some cool products coming with the honey too.
Okay.
So we just had some soap made.
Oh, okay.
With our beeswax.
Okay.
And our honey and a couple other products.
Right.
We're getting ready to do some candles as well with the beeswax.
That's nice.
And
like I said, man, you got all these crazy ideas, but you put them into action. You know what I mean? Like it's not just ideas.
And so everybody knows 99% of this stuff is a money loser. Like this is not about dollars.
Right.
This
You're
is
not
about
making
trying
money.
to do something good for the community, trying to utilize everything. I feel like we live in a society of a throwaway society.
Yeah,
like it's a one and done kind of deal, and I can't stand it.
Right.
So whatever I can do to try to change that, we're going to try to do it.
Well, I know you're always trying to find good help. That's another thing. So for the people that are interested in working in this multifaceted business that Daniel's created with his family, I guess they can just get that cell phone number and call you.
Absolutely.
You know, and say like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And Daniel and them are very competitive on their wages, and they try to treat their people good. They're always looking for good people to work. You may be cutting grass one day and doing bees the next, or processing deer the next day, but you're going to have a job,
man.
You know?
And that's kind of, I look at life like we all have to deal with a million different things. And personally in your own household, you know, it's just part of life. The fact that you have to go from cutting the grass to fixing on a toilet to cleaning the house. There's 1,000 different things to do, and that's kind of how this works. Like it's a machine. I would say a well-oiled machine, but we're still working on that.
Well, it could get squeaky sometimes.
But there's a lot of moving parts that have to be taken care of.
So we all have, you know, I haven't known Daniel for
a few years.
Yeah, a few years. But I mean, it's not a lifetime conversation, but we were quick to kind of connect, and we found out we were both very resourceful on people we know. And last weekend, I got a text from you about a neighbor that needed oxygen.
Yep.
So I start hitting the phone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Like, so this was like a Saturday night?
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah, it was late. And he's like, man, you know anybody that's got any oxygen? My neighbor's really in a bad situation. And I'm like, well, let me text a few people and find out.
And we did. We finally got it all figured out.
Yeah. I think I text our good friend David Tyre, which shout out to David. He's a great mechanic and just an overall genuine person.
Absolutely.
Him and his wife and their kids are amazing.
Yes.
And this guy, he'd drive 500 miles to help you get out of a ditch.
He would. David Tyre, man, you know, there's very few people that when you say genuine are truly genuine. Yeah. I remember calling him up one night. We had just had a conversation a couple weeks ago about a thermal scope that he had gotten, or a thermal.
Oh, this dude is the hunter of hunters too, by the way. Yeah. Let me do not even undersell David's need to go hunting. Yeah.
Well, and his kids are amazing too. His kids drop bigger bucks than I've ever seen.
That's true.
But he was telling me about this thermal scope, and it turns out a couple weeks later, my neighbor's dog, old dog, got out, and we couldn't find him in the middle of the woods. So it's 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, he's not going to make it all night out there.
Right.
So I called David. I said, hey, man, you think you can lend us that thermal scope? He said, I'll do you one better.
I'll go with you.
I'll go with you.
Yeah. He probably was excited.
Dude, it was 2 hours, and he found that dog.
Oh, wow.
And it was probably a few hundred yards away from the house.
Wow.
In a big old field.
Wow.
But he found him. We were able to bring him back. And
nice.
His doggy daddy was bawling at that point.
Oh, I bet he was. Yeah. So, yeah, and I mean, y'all live pretty close together over there. Moved clear across the county from me, which sadly, because David is like truly like, man, him and Cody, by the way, they're buddies. Best friend. Cody does mechanic work. He's David's best friend.
He's the one that owns that Transparency Automotive down there, or no?
No. Cody does diesel mechanic work. Okay. He does like mostly. It's going to be on site. Like if I break down, I call him, he comes get me. You know what I mean?
I got you.
David used to do that, but like David's got into more of the small, like skid steers, mini X's, tractors.
Oh, we wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for David.
Absolutely, man. Me neither. Him and Cody, they come get me. I'll be broke down, and the both of them be just arguing over who's going to get to me. Thank God they're that way for me. I think of them just like my little brothers. You know, I'm probably old enough to be their daddies, to be honest with you. But I met them some years ago, and just kind of happened.
Yep.
Like it just kind of organically happened, and they did some. I mean, just little by little, and just like the relationship grew, and then over time we built a relationship, and they know I got their generally best interest, and I try to send business their ways because when they get on the job, they're doing it. Yeah. Or they're dying. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just how they are. Yeah. You know, it don't matter how cold or how hot, they're just through and through those kind of guys. So overall, I don't want to just like totally take up all day talking about those two knuckleheads, but they are truly amazing people that I'm lucky to have in my life. So if you guys are listening, thank you very much. Yeah. And I refer their businesses all the time, and we'll get later on. We'll talk more about them. I might even have those two idiots on together or something, so we can talk about things. But they're both deer hunter motivated.
Absolutely.
Ducks. Whatever you got, they're coming.
Something they can shoot.
They can shoot, yeah. But getting back to that local stuff, to you and I's overall, I guess we were going through about how we knew each other for a long time. But I met you. You were kind of just in the throes of starting Buena Vista Landscaping, and you needed some materials, and somehow or another it got back to me, and I kind of got somebody for you. I didn't actually bring it, but I brought somebody out to get it to you. I'm kind of a networker with that too, and sent some guys, and we just kind of kept in touch, and little by little, it just kind of developed that way. So a sense of loyalty happened. And when I can't do it, I find somebody or whatever, and that kind of works for all of us. And I try to throw business y'all's way that I know that you are capable of handling and doing as well. And, you collect enough friends in a business, and some of them are great people, not the best at what they do, right. So I not only try to promote them, but also try to focus on who's going to be the best at this. Like when I have a customer who goes, somebody that does this, I'm like, yeah, I do actually, and he's the best I know at it. So I try to stay that way. And 90% of the time when something in y'all's world, I'm on it, I'm like, yeah, we need to get Daniel involved. So I give him your number or whatever, and vice versa. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. I mean, that's what this show's all about, is promoting others, their businesses. But getting off the business topic now, let's get back into really what your focus is. You talked earlier about we got to have money to survive. We got to have money to make these businesses go. But one of your goals down at your Ark Farms is to create like a community garden.
Yes.
So
that's been a goal for a long time. So
we need help, folks.
Absolutely.
Like this is something that he can't do on his own. Yeah. Like he has to have people who are interested on this. And explain a little more about what you mean by community garden. Like how does it start? How does it work?
So we're still trying to fine tune the idea behind it, but the goal is to have a number of families involved, and essentially they may buy in, or they may just throw labor at it, to help us keep it up. But we would like to be able to source everything locally. Yeah, it's if you can go to the grocery store now and you actually take the time to find out where all this produce is coming from.
Sure.
None of it's coming from here.
No, it's California, Mexico, wherever.
And Neil, we have people growing this produce here. Yeah. And it doesn't make it to the stores. I don't understand. Right. And so if we could start using our ground to create some gardens, some vegetable gardens, and some produce gardens, where we can actually fill everybody's fridges or countertops throughout the year, and it would rotate seasonally the way it used to be. Right. We don't do that anymore. If we want strawberries in December, we can get strawberries in December in the store. But that's not how things used to be.
It's not the way it works.
No, absolutely not. And so we're trying to do it in such a way that we can do it regeneratively. So we use we've been saving the chicken litter from the chickens, and we're letting it just sit there and kind of not get as hot, so that we can use it the following year. We've got some cotton gin trash from you. Yeah.
Gin trash, by the way. Oh, man. If you're interested in that, man, that stuff will make tomatoes big as cantaloupes. It's crazy. Yeah. So I got these guys hooked up with that. I know y'all. I mean, and it's another one that don't spoil. Like the longer you let it sit, the better it is. Absolutely. Yeah. So the blacker it gets, the better it is.
It's more organic.
Yeah, it's truly organic. So it's from, when I say gin trash, what I mean by that is cotton seed waste. Like it's from the cotton gin. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you can reach out to me for that if you'd like.
Please do.
Yeah. But however, so continue on with the process. Like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is the explanation of the community, what it means by that. Like, so You work it, you can pull from it.
Absolutely.
You can put food on your table.
That's right.
And then also maybe some local restaurants that want to get involved and support the thing would be great too, or produce suppliers. You see these guys on the side of the word, these produce sales, like the farmers markets, they all have a similar idea, but they're working their own gardens and they're working hard, and that's a great product to have. Like, I know they do it on the square. I've seen it in Hernando. I've seen it in Horn Lake. I've seen it in South Haven. Everywhere's got this produce thing. However, this is a little different scope on it. This is where you go as a group and you maintain it, and everybody shares in the wealth. Everybody shares in the work. Yep. And you've got the acreage for it where you're at your Ark Farms on 301 over in Lake Cormorant, and you're just offering the opportunity to people come in and help get started. I noticed early in the spring, y'all tried to get started. It was a little wet, so it was a little hard to kind of get started when you wanted to.
And it was my first time.
Yeah.
Like right. And so it was a fail. It's part of it.
Well, only because you probably didn't have as much people involved. Like if you'd have had feet on the ground to help you and interested parties, I think you'd have probably got lifted off pretty good. But because you got 100 things going on business-wise, it was hard to focus on that one thing. So that's where we need people from the area.
That's right.
You can be from Coldwater. If you want to get involved, or Tunica.
Man, if you want to get involved, contact us.
Yeah, just contact Daniel.
We'd love to have your help. Yeah. You don't have to know anything. We can show you what we know so far. And the goal is really to bring people aboard that have done this in the past that may, everybody brings something to the table.
Sure.
Whether that's a strong back or a lot of wisdom. Right. There's a place for everybody to fit in. And
I have neither. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we're hoping we can get enough people involved with enough knowledge put together that we can do something great and wonderful for the community. And for those that have never had homegrown veggies, you need to. Yeah. You don't know what you're missing.
You know how I got to be as big as I am?
Them homegrown veggies.
Yeah. And my grandmother, I never missed a meal for sure. And it was one of those things where everything we ate, because they were born in, like early 1900s.
Also Depression era.
Yeah. And so they grew up, they didn't go to the store and stuff for anything, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 3 squares a day, and they were cooking it.
Absolutely.
Like, my grandma was always hanging over the stove in the kitchen, and I'd be like, you just had to sense the smell through the house and the fresh vegetables out of the garden. We had kind of like there would be friends of theirs that had these huge opportunities, and it was kind of like a community garden in a way. And I remember going to it, and I was so reluctant because I was young and dumb and didn't know. So I was like playing in the dirt, and I just didn't understand the real reason. But when you got back to the raw product of what they were doing, it's amazing. And these people were old, man. Like, like they were in their 70s out here digging in the dirt. I was amazed. And they were really doing something spectacular that's just you don't see anymore. I mean, you'll run up on it occasionally out in the country. You'll see somebody that's really doing that, but it's not norm anymore.
It's not, and I think all this started during COVID, so I'm sure everybody remembers what happened during COVID. You go to the grocery store, they didn't have anything there.
No eggs.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point where I couldn't continue to see what was going on and not do something about it. Right. And so that's where the goal is. Like if we can grow this stuff here, why are we bringing it in from South America? Why are we bringing it in from across the Atlantic or the Pacific? We need to be able to do it here.
Right. And so there's going to be people out there like me, for instance, like I'm definitely going to buy some honey from you.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I love honey. I always like to have some in the cabinet, and I used to buy, I told you about the guy that lived up the street from me. He was the bee man. He's retired, in the last few years. And so I haven't just been focused on that, but I know it's such a good product. And
some really cool facts about honey. And one of the reasons I got into it was I had allergies my whole life. Yeah. I moved up here from Miami back in 2006 or 2007. Yeah. And my allergies went from bad to worse. Yeah. And I couldn't, I was taking all sorts of stuff every single day. Sure. Prescription grade stuff and over the counter stuff and nothing.
Right. Just anything to help you relieve.
Anything. Yeah. And I had a doctor lady, she wasn't from here, and she said, hey, have you tried honey? Right. So I had honey. She said, no, you got to try local honey. Local honey. And she said, just take you a tablespoon every day, and you'll see within a couple months your allergies start going away. Sure enough. I don't take anything anymore. It's been years since I've taken
And plus, on top of that, it's got all these other huge benefits to your body besides just allergies.
The second, incredible fact about honey. So one of the things Ark Farm does is if some animals go to a vet that have been hurt or the owners can no longer take care of them, they were talking livestock animals.
Right.
they'll reach out to us and say, hey, can you guys care for these animals while they recover? And we'll cover what we can, but it's kind of a do good for the community type of thing. So we eat the cost. So they brought these 2 donkeys, mini donkeys, to us, and they had been attacked by a dog real bad. I mean, we're talking about 2-inch deep gashes, 6 inches long.
They must have been little donkeys when that happened.
They were.
Yeah, a donkey will kill a dog in a second.
They're mini donkeys. They're probably maybe 4.5 foot tall to the top of their heads. So they're not very big. They're in bad shape.
Okay.
So she brings us these donkeys, and they've got lacerations all over them. Right. She's got this $100 bottle cream that we're supposed to put on these wounds every day. Sure. And a week in, we're out of cream.
No.
I said, hey, man, we need some more. So, well, I can bring you one more. And we did it, and it still wasn't getting much better. It was still oozing places. And so the next week, we're like, hey, we're out of cream again. She's like, look, I can't afford it. You guys are going to have to buy it. If you want to keep them alive, you're going to have to buy it. Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
We can't afford it. This is a fledgling farm. It's already bleeding money.
Yeah.
So we started talking to a couple different vets, and again, somebody says, hey, have you tried honey?
Right.
I'm like, no, we haven't tried honey.
Why would I even think to try honey?
Why would you try honey?
Yeah.
So she said, just take the honey and smear it on the wounds.
Wow.
And that's it. So mind you, we were about 4 weeks in. We had spent a couple $100s on that pharmaceutical stuff, and the wounds weren't getting much better. They weren't getting worse, but they weren't getting much better. Right. So 4 weeks in, we start with the honey, and day 1 was a disaster. Oh. So we put the honey on all these donkeys' cuts. Well, the chickens
my God,
picking on this honey.
Oh, I bet.
So it made it worse for a day. We had to separate the donkeys, but once we got them separated, it wasn't 2 weeks. They were completely healed up.
Wow.
Yeah, no more oozing, nothing else. And after that, we kept them separate for a little while. We probably kept it on for about 3 weeks total, and they were done. Yeah. Crazy.
It is crazy just to think that that's nature's healing, natural healing stuff, There's something to say for all that holistic herbs and stuff, that people have forgotten about because we're in such a pharmaceutical world, and I'm not knocking that because I take my pills every day for sure. like all that. I'm not knocking that, but the more and more I hear, and I grew up in a world to where over in Alabama, I grew up in a town called Cedar Bluff, Alabama. It's in the Southern Appalachians. It's on a place called Wise Lake. Beautiful place, beautiful people. I might even run over there this weekend to pick up a dog I've been thinking about. But my wife and I are still in discussion. I think I'm winning, but maybe not. We'll see. But anyway, there was some people around there that was really big into that. That's a thing that I just grew up in. So like they'd tell you all these natural remedies instead of my grandparents too, because they didn't have pharmaceutical drugs when they grew up in the Depression. So it's a lost conversation in today's society. Like if you didn't grow up with some of those folks, I'm only aware of it because of them.
Well, even if you grew up with them folks, did you actually listen to them?
Not much.
That's
I didn't.
The problem.
I'd probably be doing it this day. I'd be in there like, if you put this banana peel on your whatever. But they had some stuff like that. So some old remedies that were, I think, very beneficial. There's no coincidence that those things help our bodies because we come from it, we go back to it, so to speak. Right. So I believe that about honey, and especially since it's such a, this is something that people's been talking about for
forever,
time,
for millennia.
For the initial. Some of the oldest things they found in the world is pots of honey,
3,000-year-old,
that are still good,
still good to eat.
Yeah, it's still good to eat.
Crazy, 3,000-year-old covered in dirt. They just uncover them, peel the top off, and you can go ahead and go to town.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So it's not a waste of money. No matter what you pay for it, bang for your buck, you're not going to get a more valuable product is. So if the bees go away, guess what happens?
Oh, if the bees go away, we go away.
Yeah. So bees are important to nature's whole works. We forget how important they are.
And we have done some damage to the bee populations of Earth.
We really have.
So, and I didn't know this until I got into bees also. Yeah. But there's something called the Verona mite.
Wow.
And it came, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and now it's decimating hives all over the country. So you got to treat them with chemicals all year long. Check them and treat them, and check them and treat them, and check them and treat them, and check them and treat them.
Wow. So that's a lot of work.
It is. Yeah. And I think if it wasn't for beekeepers, the wild bees aren't going to be able to keep up with
there's no way. Yeah, there's just not enough. So, plus, as we build, we're ever growing, so we're taking out their habitats and stuff. So beehives are important. Absolutely. So even though you're in the business, you implore people to have more beehives because even on your farm, if you got just an acre or two, get you a bee.
Get you some bees, and man, you can just don't treat your grass.
Just be safe with the chemicals and pest control and stuff, because you're going to wipe them out as soon as you get them in. But this is essential to keeping everything moving. Everything depends on bees. I didn't realize how essential they were to our ecosystem.
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh, they go down, we go down within a couple of years.
I think that I've heard that before. Like it's like really they're essential to our population in general, and that's probably the one only component that I can think of other than air.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's it. Absolutely.
So air and water, right? So. Anyway, man, we've talked about a lot of cool things about all that, and I appreciate you visiting with us about the details of what you got going on. And I want to also reiterate that this is a local product, guys, that we're not taking advantage of. I know you well, and I'm not even taking complete advantage of it. And you're right down the street, but I'm gonna. Please. Right now, put me down for a gallon of a gallon, but I don't want it in a gallon jug.
Okay, what do you want it in?
Well, how do you get it? Like, is it in pint jars or fruit jars?
Pints, quarts, half gallons, and gallons.
Yeah. So I'm into old school glassware.
Man, so we want to get into glass.
Yeah.
And I think that after this round, it'll all be glass.
Yeah.
But we couldn't afford it.
Right at that time, you just had to do what you
had to do. What we can do.
So now you're upgrading to the real safe plastics and the glass and stuff that you're trying to work towards to get your product to the table.
We've got some, like I say, some cool products coming. Yeah. So we got soap, candles, and then we're working.
Will they be able to resource these at High Cotton Meats, or are you going to have it online?
Right at High Cotton. They can actually check us out on arkfarmsms.com.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
arkfarmsms.com. You can buy the chicken feed, the organic feed on there.
Right.
You can buy the honey on there.
Awesome. Yeah.
And we have some really cool products coming. They're still in the R&D phase, but it's a whipped honey. I don't know if you ever tried anything like that.
No, but it sounds delicious.
Dude, so we whip it with cinnamon.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Neil.
Right.
It's just on some warm buttered toast and just smear that over the top of it. It's sinfully delicious.
Put me down for that. I'm going to buy that too.
Well, all right. We still got to get to the point where we can make it and hold up. It's unwhipping as it sits. So
right. So it's there's a process to anything that's really good, whether it be your favorite beverage. Mm-hmm. Like I'm talking alcoholic beverage here. There's some fermenting has to take place. Right. There's distillery processes. Honey has to go through a process. All the things that are good in life. There's time involved in producing them, and that's why the cost is so essential. There's a lot of work behind producing honey and the products you guys are talking about. But as you're talking about with the byproducts, you're trying to create some cool products like soaps and candles and things like that.
We'll end up having what's that stuff? My wife uses it all the time. Lip balm.
Yeah. What do you mean your wife? I seen you with rosy lips yesterday. You had it all over you.
That's probably because I was freezing cold.
I'm just messing with you. But anyway, you're going to try to do some lip balm stuff, which is awesome. And if you got like flavored lip balms, I'm sure you'll probably try to put some natural flavor. Honey flavored, that's right. Yeah.
That's the game plan.
Absolutely. So that's very, very cool. And then if somebody out there is listening that wants to get involved in trying to develop some of these products that maybe they know how to do it, reach out to Daniel and kind of help him with the process. So,
And the products are delicious and beautiful and local. And we love doing it. We love doing it for the community.
I want to be able to call you Daniel the Honey Man here pretty soon. Yeah. So that's awesome, man. So going forward, for 2025, we're almost out of 2024, which is crazy to even think that's even, I'm letting it out of my mouth, but the things I'm involved with the Feed My Lambs, and you've been an essential supporter of that, and thank you for that. Daniel's also one of the very first guys I reached out to and wanted to be a sponsor for the program and do good for the community. I want to reiterate their importance to that product, or, locally as well, to feed the kids in the community. And but what is your plans? I know what I'm doing, for the next year for sure, with this new podcast and the nonprofits that I'm going to be involved with. But the business-wise, I know what you got going on. Do you have any future operations of development? Or are you just going to stick with these things you got and try to hone them in and make them good?
So there's one thing I've been dying to do for the last couple of years, and we haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Okay.
So we would like to build, what is it called? Off-grid housing, off-grid homes.
Sure.
It's been a little bit of a battle.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rules, regulations, and codes that we got to get to.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do it in such a way that we can build homes, smaller homes. We're talking starter-size homes.
Yeah.
And sell them at the same price that current homes are selling for. So essentially about the same cost as a new home, except smaller. Which right now, I don't know if you guys If for those that are listening, the housing prices out here,
it's crazy.
Large homes starting 3,000 square foot, they're going to 175 a square foot or more.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And if you go down to like a 1,500, 1,800 square foot home, new, you can't even find them.
No, they just don't exist.
They're over 200 square foot.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're hoping to get into the 150 a square foot range,
right.
But it would be kind of off grid where you would create your own power. You'd have
probably like 800 to 1,000 square foot homes.
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and then like no dependency on resources. That's why there's problems with you doing this, because you're eliminating the gas man, the electric man, the water man. So those guys are in profitability games. So when you are talking about guys who want to get off the grid, or maybe you just got like a spot on the lake and it's like there's no access to utilities.
Well, and we live out where we're at in the county. It's very rural.
Yes.
And if you pick up 80 acres or 20 acres, but it's a long narrow property, and you want to be in the back. Well, it may cost you $250,000 to get power to the back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, for that kind of money, you could put up a really nice solar system out there and have enough power that you can go forever on and not have a power bill.
That's right.
And so we've had we know what we're doing for power. It's going to be solar. We've actually figured out what we're going to do for septic already, which is a biogas system.
Sure.
Where we can actually take your septic and turn it into methane and harvest that methane and use it for heating and for cooking.
Wow.
And so the last thing is water, which we'll just, drill wells and go ahead and put them in. So you kind of be your own little place off grid. You rely on yourself kind of deal. And really the goal is to make communities like this.
Sure.
Where we can have one large well, one large solar field, and one large gas plant, essentially. Sure. And then everybody would share in those resources. Everybody would share in maintaining those resources along with a large garden out there,
community garden,
and some farm animals out there where everybody can kind of, once it's done and paid for, you're good to go.
Oh, wow.
You've got food coming in, you've got your power on, you've got gas, you've got water. Yeah. There's nothing really to worry about.
It's not going to be this never ending bill every month that goes in, which by the way, I'm happy to have those things. Like, look, I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm not a hunter. I'm not a camper. I'm not looking to be off the grid. I want to be on the grid, and I want to be lights on, air conditioned, heat, all those things I love. Yeah. And matter of fact, recently I got me a huge generator put on my house. I told you about that because I'm just like, I'm so sick of this electric department. Their power goes out just randomly in the middle of the night. So part of that is like the large majority of our power over here is above ground, in this area. I moved out to Wyoming probably in the mid to late 80s, and they already had underground power.
Really?
And I'm like, why are we so far behind on that? I don't understand that. And like now they're new building stuff. They're still not putting it underground. I think it must be cheaper. That's the only thing I think. Yeah, it's got to be. So for that, we have a lot of power outage issues around here. That's right. And I just, I don't golf, I don't fish, I don't hunt. I mean, I pretty much fundraise, and that's kind of my hobbies, like kind of that stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to do this for me and my wife. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
She probably could deal with it better than me, but I'm such a baby. I just want to walk in and get the fridge open and not worry about, oh my God, I just lost everything. Yep. So,
it's miserable.
So that I did. So I understand the idea behind the being off the grid a little bit, because you're going to be at that point. Yep. You're going to be in this situation where I'm running my generator.
Helene came through. My brother was out there in South Carolina, and he was prepared. We kind of explained to him what we did here for backup power at the house, again, because we've had a lot of power outages. Sure. And he spent 2 or 3 weeks off grid on his generator and keeping
survived.
Yeah, he did well.
Probably helped his neighbors.
Oh man, everybody. He said he had 600 foot of extension cord to his neighbor's house. Had a CPAP machine that needed running. And so they had to make sure that was running.
Oh, that's another thing I got that I have to make sure is operational. I'm not even trying to take a nap without that thing. So if you guys ever see me on here and I got lines on my face or something, that's what it's from. Yeah. So it's not that I've been in no fight or anything like that, or fell down because I'm old and feeble, but it is because of that. So yeah, those are essential things. Like some people like have to wear it, or they might die in their sleep.
That's right.
That's how bad it is. So mine's not quite that bad.
Well, but that's the goal. So you said, what's my goal for 2025 is to get closer to building a community, a real community. I feel like we've gotten so disconnected from each other. We've got all the tools to be as connected as ever. Yeah. And that's only resulted in us being disconnected.
Right. Some of the great things we're connected on is Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, that kind of stuff. You can connect those with your security systems, neighbors to neighbors,
But the face-to-face is done.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And then this is kind of like you're trying to you got a vision to bring it back as a community. And that's the same thing, like part of what I'm with the community farm. That's what's essential. And what you're trying to get at is like, this is an opportunity for us to work together part of the fundraising stuff that we're involved in. Similar, you get the community involved.
Absolutely.
Bringing awareness that those things are out there is hugely important because we don't go anywhere anymore. Like there's no hangouts. People don't do that anymore. Yeah. So like you're either at the fast food drive-through in your home, or you're at the grocery store, you're home. You're not taking time to speak to people in the grocery store like they used to, or run into them. And I probably run into more often than not somebody at the grocery store I talk to for a minute. But I think I'm a rare bird because of what I do. I'm out there and people know me and from just business. And
you know a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's just. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm probably a rare bird in that to where I'll stop and visit, and maybe you don't even want to visit with me, but I'm gonna stop you and talk to you because that's who I am. But because I always am just generally concerned about people's well-being. But not everybody's like that, So they're just like home. They don't have a lot of conversations unless it's like with family on the phone or you have a. So being family oriented is hugely important, and I know you guys do a lot of that with you and your wife Kim, and then your kids and stuff. I liked watching your Facebook trips, and I'm like, man, I'm so happy for them that they take these trips together. And
it's been beautiful.
It could just be to the lake for the weekend, and you guys are out cooking together, you're camping, and
there's nothing better.
And
I think to our listeners, there's no better food than the food cooked out with your friends and family. And, breaking bread together is amazing.
Absolutely.
And I encourage you to do it at every opportunity.
Right. So it brings you this vision of togetherness and family, and I know that without the support of your wife and family, and then your brother-in-laws and their wives, and I don't know to the capacity how deep it goes, but I know Scotty and I know Tim and I know you, and I don't know if there's more than that involved.
That's about it, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
We are doing the three
amigos.
Yeah, the three amigos. That may be what you really need to name everything. It's one big umbrella. So, but and everybody's super good and nice and hardworking, and at any time, like, last year Tim called me and I'd done some work and I hadn't forgotten about it. I just gotten busy.
Yep.
And he calls me like 3 months. I owe you some money, man. And I'm like, huh? Yeah, that load? I'm like, dude, I totally forgot about it. But he's such an honest person. He called and reminded me.
Neil,
that is a rare thing. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Right.
So if he has a piece of property, which Tim is in the rental game, so like commercial rental, you can assure yourself you're dealing with a great landlord if you decide to lease from him, because he's going to do what he says he's going to do. And if he shows up and you're like, hey, man, my AC's out, he's coming. He's coming. Yeah. So there's I want to, tell people just my confidence in folks, and I don't know him near as well as I know you, but I know he's an awesome guy, and I go months without hearing from him, and then boom, he's loyal to me. He thinks about me, and I appreciate that very, very much.
That's one thing we try to do in all the businesses and with everybody that we employ. Like you've got to be good. There's no place for people that we can't trust around.
Absolutely,
us. Like
absolutely. So the honesty and loyalty is hugely important, and we give that to you on the front end. By the way, it's something you can lose.
That's right.
A lot of times you got to go earn it. Yep. With me, you kind of got it up front. My wife says I'm too trusting. Like I'm oblivious to.
I'm the same way.
I'm horrible about it, and I count on her to kind of like, she'll tell me like, careful, and I'm like, what do you mean, baby? You know what I mean? Because she's got a good sense about those things. Yes. Yeah, she does. And
some people do. I don't. I will hand over everything to everyone.
I do too.
And they will just railroad me.
My poor mama. I had to watch her nonstop. She was getting railroaded nonstop, because she had this heart bigger than you could imagine, wanting to help everybody, downtrodden. And she would go without so they could have it. So I had to like really be careful with her. And I'm like, Mama, you got to start telling me what you're doing so I can kind of help vet these things,
Absolutely.
Because the word gets out that you're a giver or want to help. And man, before you know it, you got all kinds of opportunities to get yourself in deep with something that maybe you weren't prepared for.
That's right.
So I applaud you for what all y'all do in the community and everything that y'all are involved with. Your family is amazing. I don't know them personally. Like, I'm not at your house having dinners and stuff.
Well, you should come by one day.
Well, we can come by and we can maybe have some fresh honey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some organic chickens that are in the freezer, and they're delicious.
By the way, I'm not a big fan of chicken on the bone. So if I'm eating chicken, it's in the finger.
Okay. Well, I'll cut out the tenderloins for you, and we'll get
the chicken tender forms. Yeah. I'm still one of those guys, if I get to a restaurant and I'm just like not feeling it, they always got chicken tenders.
Always.
I'm ordering them. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm like a child. Like I'm like ordering off the kids menu, sometimes. It's like, I'm just like, I'm not so much. But I bet you on the kids menu, they got chicken tenders. So I'm going to order some of those.
That's right.
So, but anyway, man, anything else you can think of you want to talk about today or with a little vision of like a good.
Man, high cotton. So I do want to say this.
Yeah.
We bought Highway 301 Processing. It had a bad name. We fought really hard to change that.
Sure.
And I do want to say, and it's not a knock against any of the processors around here.
Sure.
We are getting the best meat yields from everybody else around us.
Oh, good.
So
good.
If you're trying to get as much meat back as possible, your meat, come to us.
Right,
We're going to get you as much. We're going to scavenge everything possible off that carcass.
Right.
And you're going to get the most meat back.
Sure, because a lot of people bring in a 200-pound deer.
Yeah.
And they think they're getting 200 pounds of meat.
Oh my gosh,
back.
Neil! That our first year, and we got a review. We had a guy come in and say he brought us a 300-pound doe.
Yeah,
and he only got 70 pounds of meat back.
By the way, there's no 300-pound does.
There's they don't exist.
No, they don't exist.
And he was so mad. He got 70 pounds of meat back off a doe.
That's amazing. That's a massive amount of meat. Yes.
And he was so mad. He left us a terrible review.
So educating people on what they have is important, and I think y'all do that now. You're like, hey, you got this 175-pound buck that you brought in this little spike or whatever, and you could probably expect 60 pounds of beef back or meat back.
We've already started keeping data on it.
Right. Trying to educate them so when they leave, they don't come back and go, "This is it." Yeah. It's like so. But the education process is important. So once again, tell people how to get in touch with that program.
Yeah. So High Cotton Meats. It's 7316 Highway 301 North in Lake Comrie.
Yeah.
The phone number is 662-544-0744. And just come on by. They're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday through the end of deer season.
Yeah, and if you're out, just like go by this is where Ark Farms is. This is where everything that they got going on primarily is focused. And so come by, take a tour, say, look, I want to look at your chicken facility or whatever, and or look at your goats or whatever you got. Like if you're interested in any of these products or your honey making process, these guys somebody will be there to show you, know, and it's, like I said, a great place. It's clean. It's, great people working there. I'm not always know who I'm talking to when I walk up there, cause you got a few employees, but like, they're always like, oh, absolutely. They're always like, they know, how to deal with folks. And I want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your story and, telling us about all the great things you got going on. And I wish you all the best of luck with all these adventures that you got going on, because you got a lot. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I couldn't even sleep with what all you got going on.
Much.
I know, I can tell. But if you keep taking your honey spoon every day, you'll be fine.
At least I won't be snotty.
That's true. That's true. Any .com besides the one you gave out earlier?
No, just Ark Farms, Mississippi. ArkFarmsMS.com is the only website we've got. We've got a couple listings on Google.
Well, that kind of incorporates everything you do, Ark Farms. I mean, outside of the landscaping stuff, I mean, or maybe the RV park, but the rest of it's all there.
It's all there.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate you coming in, my friend, and we'll see y'all next time on the Local Yokels podcast, where we're definitely spotlighting all North Mississippi and surrounding areas, businesses, locals, nonprofits. And again, today's episode is brought to you by Roofworks Roof Company, one of the best roofing companies around for sure. You always depend on excellent service, quality product, and cleanliness. They are absolutely the best. And behind that, with High Cotton Meats, they are also, I'm just going to spotlight them today because he's here. So anyway, guys, continue to look for us on YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon. Until next time, keep supporting all your local businesses. Thank you.